Let's be honest. We have something to prove in Christian hip hop that the secular artists don't have to prove. And it's
Mm.
Right.
brought our music way above their music. I mean, I would argue that Christian hip hop today, by the numbers, is
Yep.
producing way higher quality rap music. Even the
Sure.
ACM, I mean, worship music is on the radio like it's just regular music. I would tell the secular artists, watch out. God's on the move
Mhm.
and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
In the artist spotlight, okay. Making sure you shine bright, okay. Rhyme righteous, that's right, okay. Track stars too hype, okay.
What's going on? This is your man Ryan Righteous, and this is the Independent Artist Spotlight presented by Next Level Provision. I'm excited, y'all. Like, listen, I'm really excited. I got Sam Giannis with me. I got S Rain Z with me, and I'm so excited to talk to them about their new single Lead that drops today. So all these great things about to happen in this interview, and I'm so excited that you're here. Let me tell you, I want to go ahead and give S Rain Z her flowers because she is officially the first lady of the Independent Artist Spotlight. I've sat down with 40 gentlemen, and she's the first young lady that we're sitting down and talking with. So y'all get ready for a great interview. This is the Independent Artist Spotlight. Let go.
In the artist spotlight, okay. Making sure you shine bright, okay. Rhyme righteous, that's right, okay. Track stars too hype, okay.
Sam Giannis is a rising voice in Christian hip hop, blending his South Florida roots in hip hop, Latin, Brazilian funk, and reggaeton influences into music that resonates with believers and seekers alike.
It's like a merry-go-round. Your love will never let me down, down, down. You'll never let me down. Your love is like a merry-go-round. You see, sometimes in life we struggle, despite the hustle. When we try to do it on our own, man, we're just a muscle. As storms rage, yeah, things went wrong. I know that you felt caged and couldn't tell whose side it was on. Your mom prayed and she cried many nights, but she knew that God loved her. So with all of her might, she held on till we went from lost to found. See, prayers work, I can even hear the trumpet sound.
With over 500,000 streams of his tracks like Lead and Jesus El Rey, he shares music of hope, faith, and redemption. Beyond the music, Sam is a dedicated youth leader and a mentor, using his platform to impact the lives on both the stage. He is here today to talk about the new single Lead, his ministry, and what's next in the journey. Also, S Rain Z, or simply known as Rain, is an emerging powerhouse in the Christian music scene.
Lord, I really love the way that you lead me. Satan won't deceive me. I got you all up in my heart and all in my walk. My Lord, you complete me. There's so many times I've been wrong, yet I still seek you. Times I've been let down, yeah, I've been let down real low.
Her recent single, Me Plus You, highlights her incredible vocal talents and emotional depth, capturing listeners with its indie rock vibe. Rain is taking things to the next level, showcasing her versatility and ability to seamlessly blend genres. With her unique sound and undeniable talent, Rain is quickly becoming a name in CHH for you to watch. So make sure you stay tuned for the full-length interview. It's your man Ryan Righteous of the Track Stars, and this is the Independent Artist Spotlight. Lego! I am excited to talk to you guys. How are you all doing?
Woo! Man, we are so blessed and so thankful that you and Trackstars would take the time to talk with us about this song and all that God's doing.
Oh, listen, the
Definitely.
pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. And again, like I said, Rain, you are the first young lady to sit down and do the Independent Artist Spotlight. So I'm excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I did not know that. That's awesome to hear.
Oh, I wanted it to be a surprise. Totally wanted it to be a surprise. to me.
It was a good surprise.
Good, good.
I'm
I'm glad.
definitely excited, definitely blessed, grateful to have this opportunity to be able to speak about this song. This is a great song that Sam invited me to collab on, and we're just excited to release it to the public.
So tell me, guys, how did this all come together?
Yes, so I have started producing my own beats off and on. For a long time, I've been working with guys like Marty, who make fantastic music, a couple of different producers, and I've just been using Logic and Pro Tools, and I wanted to make a Latin sound. I'm from Miami, Florida, and down here we have a certain sound that we're into, and so I made this amazing track, and it didn't sound quite right with me on it by myself. And I was like, there needs to be a female presence. And Rain and I had started talking about doing music together. She came to one of my shows and we got to know each other. And then I heard her vocals and I was like, we got to get this. I was like, she
There you
sounds
go.
so good, man. I couldn't believe how good it sounded with her on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really sounds beautiful together.
It
Thank
really
you.
does. It really does. I know that we're talking about things that the audience has yet to be able to experience, but I hope that when they hear it, their minds will be blown.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he sent it to me, I was at work and I heard it and I could already hear my melodies behind him. And I was like, I have to get on this. So I left my desk for like 5-10 minutes to go to the car to record something because usually I go to my car. This is my creative space.
Okay.
And I just recorded what I had in mind. And then later on that night, Sam even said, just pray before you drop the verse, which I did. And I usually do for my songs. I pray. But this one, I was praying a lot more harder for this.
Okay.
And I had myself just in a dark room and the Holy Spirit flooded through me and we came up with this magic and I sent it to him all within like the night. And
Amazing.
I was like, oh my
Within
God.
a day?
Was it within that same day?
It was so fast.
It was so
She heard
fast.
it immediately and sent me
Wow.
in the first, after I
Yeah.
sent it for an hour later, she already sent me harmonies for like the hook. And I was like, watch out. And then she went and did her thing and you'll hear the song. I mean, it couldn't have come together any better.
Yeah, man,
That's
it
really
doesn't have to look.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
I was
So,
performing it in my room pretty much that night.
Rain, just a little bit about you. You are an up and comer in CHH. I mean, really bursting out on the scenes. Talk about that. How's that been for you?
It's been good. So 6-7 years ago, I was making music, but it was more secular music.
Mm.
And it was 2020 is when I started to write again. And it wasn't until the beginning of last year, 2024, I released my first single, Love Me, that had to
Okay.
do with Christian music.
Okay.
So that happened and I don't know, it's just been a great journey ever since. Like there's no way I don't have content when it comes to God, positivity, unity, love. Like there's endless amounts of songs that I can write, especially with the way that the music industry is now and
Yes.
just the things that they talk about and stuff. Like we want to fill the kids, the youth, even adults, older adults, just with good music, good sounding music, but also with a good message.
Okay, so I have to hear this story of the switch. How did you go from secular to doing music for God? What was your testimony?
So I actually was out one night, and I had a close friend who was actually extremely drunk, and honestly, it felt like I encountered a demon through this person. It was because of the alcohol. This is why they call it alcohol and spirits. And after that night, there was just a lot that went on. And the next morning, I felt like an overwhelming sense of love and just being held. Even though I was hurt and I was just really sad and depressed, I felt like I was being cradled in the arms of something way bigger than me, bigger than anyone. And so my aunt and my dad, they both sent me, mind you, they don't talk. My parents are divorced. They sent me the same song from Maverick City, Jireh.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I saw it and I saw that the way that they were worshiping and they had this circle in this room. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this. And it just all just different signs came about. There were big trucks saying God is good, just signs where you know it's him. There's no other explanation to it. So after that, I was just like, I'm all in.
You know, you're maybe the third or fourth person I've talked to in the last month that talked to me about what God birthed out of them during the pandemic, those years. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yep.
Wow. I love that. So talk to me, Sam, about the musical elements of this song. How did that all come together?
Yeah, again, I was getting a bunch of beats from different producers that were beautiful, but just didn't have a Latin element to them.
Okay.
And so I've always been kind of hard-headed where if I want something, I'm going to go after it and I'm going to get it. And if I have to, I'll do it myself. One time I put together a country hip hop song and I couldn't get a country singer. So I made my own country singer and I did the hook for that myself, right? 'Cause
It was good. I heard it. It was great. I loved it.
when you hear something musically, it's like you've got to get it out. And I knew that we wanted to have a reggaeton sort of foundation to the song with like trap elements for the different sounds that we used, and then to put rap on it. I didn't realize that it needed singing, and that's where Rain came in, and just like what she put on the hook, it made it beautiful instead of hard, or whatever silly word could be for typical hip hop music, but it made it musical, and all of a sudden had this thing that it feels like is good for any audience, as opposed to trap, which is for trap listeners, or rock and roll, which is for rock listeners. This one seems like it transcends music, and it all came down to me just wanting to have a Latin sound in my music, because I'm Cuban.
I love that. I love that. Sam, you do a lot for the youth. As a matter of fact, you're a youth leader. And I look through your social media and you're always with the youth. It's like you're sold out to the youth. Talk about how this message lead is supposed to resonate with our youth.
Yeah, so, as adults, it's our job to be the example, right? A lot of times I'm a dad, and I'll find myself telling my son to do something that I might not want to do myself, right? And so this song was definitely to be a reminder that, like, where God calls you, you need to go. And God calls us to righteousness. He calls us, it's really simple. Jesus made it as simple as it can possibly be. He said, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and then love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
Right now, America needs to learn how to disagree well, right? We're not good at that right now. When Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, the next story he told was the Good Samaritan. And the Good Samaritan was the most offensive. The Samaritan people they offended both Gentile and Jew alike, right? And what Jesus was saying was like, Ryan, Rain, and Sam, it's easy for us to love one another. We kind of have the same beliefs. We're all into the same kind of music. That's not your neighbor. That's your brother and sister, right?
Right.
One who offends you most. That's who you need to find a way to love. And that's where, God says, go into the world and bring this message of faith, hope, and love, not just to Ryan, not just to Rain, but to the one who offends us most, and to see the brokenness and not take it personally.
What are some of the things that you're seeing in today's youth as you are mentoring and teaching them and inspiring them through the word?
Yeah, the most interesting thing I can say of all is that there's truly still a desire for them to feel God's spirit. We do a youth group right outside of a high school, and we stand out in the parking lot and kind of talk to the kids as they're coming out of school. Say, hey, we're throwing a rockin' youth group in here, and it's really interesting to see that they want to experience God's love. And I ask them straight up, like, hey, do you want to feel God's spirit? And they're like, yes. And I know we all look around at the news and there's fires in all these places and we're like, oh, it's the end times. We might be close, but I still feel like we're in the harvest season, and these kids are looking for authenticity. So no longer are they going to take some fakeness from us and not be the example. And then all of a sudden, they're going to follow that. You have to be walking that walk. You have to show up. And if you do, they will follow.
I love that. We hear a lot of statistics telling us that right now the youth are moving further and further away from the church. But I think the youth that are in the church are showing more passion and more zeal than what I saw when I was in youth ministry. Like for me, I was bored by the word from probably 11 to 16 when my parents were going through separation, and they were taking me from church to church, and I was getting different youth pastors and different youth leaders, and it just didn't feel right. We weren't in a Bible-based church. And when we got into a Bible-based church, I was 17 years old, and I've been a member of that church for 25 years now. And I went and I served in the youth ministry, and I'm still a part of the ministry today. I'm actually hosting the youth conference this year. In July. So to me, the ministry is just continuing to flourish with younger people coming in. We do see that they praise God in a different way, right? But it's okay because God says, "Come to me as you are." So I love where you guys have taken this song. Let's talk about the lyrics.
Okay.
When you first sat down to write, what was the first thing the Holy Spirit told you?
Yeah, he was telling. It's sort of about the journey that I've been on, which is. I was too old to get back into hip hop music when I did, and I was like, God, what are you doing? I gave this dream up a long time ago, and what I've learned since that, I got back into music about 2019, really
Mhm.
2020. I got kind of really into it, and what I've learned is when God calls, you just go,
You
right?
Mm.
answer.
I
You
joke
answer.
around. I call myself Abrasam because I'm like, I'm too old to be having a kid right now, but here I am. And God has been really faithful. He told me when I first started all this, he said, there's a kid that you might affect that you won't know, that I will
Yeah.
never know that I affect. And that drives for me and my character. I'm a
Mhm.
data guy. I want to know everything and have insight. And to imagine that there's some effect that I've had that I won't get to know about, I have to swallow that and just know that God is working. It's not my job to save kids. My job is to show up, be authentic, and love on them. And God
Yeah.
will water He's the one that grows the plant.
I love that. I love that. What about you, Rain? When you sat down and you came up with this melody and everything was just flowing, what were some things that the Holy Spirit told you about the song?
That I would say just to be reminded that we have a leader who will always be there for us at the end of
Yeah.
the day. No matter what we're going through, he's the one who's going to lead us. A lot of us like to look up to ourselves as being the leader, but at the end of the day, there's one person who's going to get us through. Well, not person. God is
Mhm.
going to get us through everything.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite lines is don't ever leave it the way that you need me. Sing, I got you all up in my heart and all in my walk, my Lord, you complete me.
Mhm.
We would be nowhere without him. So
Yeah.
just kind of even this song for non-believers.
I love that. Can you talk about your ministry impact and where the areas that you're serving in?
So I actually left the church that I've been going to.
Okay.
I started going to a different church. I was going to Calvary Chapel in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm going now to Coastal, which is in Parkland.
Okay.
I have not volunteered anywhere yet. I do have to get into that. I have a guy who does a little bit more street preaching, and we kind of want to start like worship nights. I don't know if you've seen Jesus Revolution, the movie, where
I
they
have.
have the tent
Oh no,
and they
no.
have
Okay.
Go ahead.
Everyone
Bring the instruments, and that's kind of what my vision is, to get everyone out from the city of Coral Springs, local cities around here, just
Mhm.
to come as you are, as you said,
Mhm.
and just worship together and just help
Mhm.
one another and be there for each other as a community.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It seems like there's a good scene for CHH where you guys are. How have you seen that impact changing the way people are, I guess, accepting the music now? Because, for a long time we had to kind of push this music on people and they would reject it and push it back.
Mm,
Maybe the quality wasn't there. Maybe
mm,
they didn't like the lyrics or they didn't like the hook. Now that we've gotten to this point where we are doing better than mainstream music, how have
mm,
you seen that impact changing hearts and minds?
One of the most interesting things I can say today is
Mhm.
I have a 13-year-old son. And for the first time, really in history, my generation and his generation are listening to the same music, right? I didn't really listen to the same music my parents did. They didn't want to hear anything about what I was listening to. But now there's this opportunity where parents and children are listening to similar music, right? And what
Mhm.
Christian hip hop can do is it can take away sort of the evils of what's in the secular hip hop that you hear, and it can bring families together because dad wants to hear it, mom's down
mm.
with it, and then you have obviously the kids are loving it. Like the kids want to
Right.
jump out. You see a KB concert, right? Those kids are jumping up and down, man. And
Yes.
when my pastor, he's one of the greatest people in the whole wide world. And
Oh,
he
I love
might
it.
be one of my biggest advocates, fans, whatever you want to call it. Every time he introduces me to senior leadership at our church, like, this is Sam. By the way, he's a rapper, Christian rapper, right? And like, to even have that welcoming feeling at church where I can be in a group. I was at a church the other day. The average age in there was 58. I mean, there was not one young person in the whole place. And I'm standing on the stage going, oh, Lord, what have you got me into? Right. But I went out into the audience while I was rapping and I dapped everyone up and won them over, and they enjoyed it because the message was real. What I said between the songs and told them what the song was about. As long as you give them a little, a little preface of why you're doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's getting more and more accepted. And let's face it, let's be honest, because we're on one of these interviews right now. We have something to prove in Christian hip hop that the secular artists don't have to prove. And it's brought our music way above their music. I mean, I would argue that Christian hip hop today, by the numbers, is producing way higher quality rap music. Even the ECM, I mean, worship music is on the radio like it's just regular music now, right? Brandon,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? So, like, I would tell the secular artists, watch out. God's on the move and he's dangerous.
Yeah, we have positive messages that are really going to change lives. You know?
There's more substance in the music.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then
Way
then
more.
you have a good beat on top of it. It's like worship music I love, but some people they get used to more of that slower music and they're like, I don't want to listen to that worship music. But then when you're bringing like these beats that these secular artists are using, and then they're like, whoa, that's about God, like that's actually good. It's like then you have them like hooked in and they're like, they want to know more and more. Like I've even performed at concerts before or performances where all of the other artists were secular and I was the only one who brought God to the stage. Obviously God is in the room, but I got a lot of feedback from random people and they were like, how did you do that? Like keep doing what you're doing. You tied God in and you didn't make it too like religious to where it's like, oh, you're condemned, this. You know what I'm saying? But it was just more, like I said, love, unity, positivity, and that's God is love,
Yeah. No, that's great. And I do want to ask you this question because I love getting to this part of everyone's hearts and their testimony. What was it that you had? Was it hard to leave behind that old life, the old music that you were making and you were recording? How hard was it to separate from the music, the lifestyle, and the friends? Like, how hard was that?
One of the craziest things that ever happened in my entire life. I was a Christian in high school. Listened to DC Talk, Carmen, like whatever we had, Audio Adrenaline. We didn't have a lot, but whatever we had, I listened to. And I became a secular artist after high school, and I was really good. But I didn't have a purpose. And by the time I was about 24 or 25, I wasn't willing to be a starving artist. So I got into sales and started a career. And I'm driving down the road when my son was about, I want to say he was 8 or 9. And I'm listening to DMX, Eminem, Jay-Z, all my, right? And my son from the back seat, he goes, Dad, what are we listening to? This is nothing but violence and drugs. And he's a little kid. And so like, I had to pull the car over, right? And I was like, man, who's raising my son? And so my first inclination was to go back to my training. And I turned on, I think, Way FM or one of the Christian stations here in South Florida. I was like, this will protect him. Little Jesus music will do him right. And when I get home, I'll make a playlist for Sam. And then I'll make a playlist for my son. And little did I know that was God reaching out to me. He wasn't trying to protect my son from anything. He was tapping on the door going, hey, it's time to change what you're programming yourself with. The soundtrack of our lives matters. And if you think that you're listening to something with a really evil message and it's not affecting you or desensitizing you to evil, you're sadly mistaken. And so it shed itself off. I think I was telling Rain the other day, like I like started listening to country music. I'm like, man, country music is safe. We could listen to, but it's just more secular music is always going to bring these categories that I don't want to have in my heart or my mind. And before I knew it, I'm listening to just straight Christian music. And I started, God told me, he's like, you have a song and I want you to go out and share it with the world. And I was like, I'm too old for this. What are you talking about? And he's like, just do it. Where I call, you go. And so he led the way, and now we're here with you.
Wow. I love that. Guys. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think it wasn't too hard for me to kind of leave that behind because I didn't have really a close circle of people that I could call friends. So what I kind of did was I took a social media detox for 3 years. I deleted my Instagram and I was off of Facebook, and I felt like with social media, you kind of have to keep up as if your life is perfect. And if you're not posting in a while, it's like, oh, where is she? Is she okay? Type of thing. But when you disappear, who's really going to remember and reach out to you? Really, no one. No one's there. So came to, sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
No, take your time.
So when it came to making music for God and my performances, it wasn't about me having to perform for myself and for people to like me. I sort of gained more confidence or Godfidence because it's not me that I'm singing for. It's God that I'm singing for. So it's like, it doesn't matter who hates because it's not doing it for. I don't want the light. The light's for God. So I think that it changed even my performances and just me and my confidence in general.
I love that. So gotta ask you, and I'll start with you, Rain, since you just finished speaking. Talk about solo projects and collaborations that you have coming up.
So Me Plus You is what I just released on my birthday, January 24th, with Colby.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I turned the big 3-0.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So Me Plus You is a great song. So I discovered that I really like the rock pop genre.
Rock pop, okay.
Yeah, and before it was like R&B, hip hop, which I can still do. I have a lot of different genres that I can work with and put different melodies on, but the rock pop is kind of where it's at. And next month I'm going to be releasing a song called Keep Me Alive, and it's more of a slowed down rock, but it's a really beautiful beat, beautiful lyrics. And that one I'm really excited for. So I'm going to be trying to release at least 1 to 2 songs a month so I can start to build that catalog back up for my faith-based music.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in album mode this year. This is my second year after having last year was a breakout year for me. And so I've been produced a lot by Marty. And him and I have been kind of brainstorming on, what we're going to do this year in order to continue this. I really like this Latin element. So I think you'll hear in almost every song I do, you'll hear that Latin element. We have a track together with KJ52 that we're getting ready to release. A lot of what I'm going to do this year will be solo on the song, but Marty influenced. He's definitely somebody who I trust with my whole heart to not only to make a beat that's fantastic because he's a genius, but he like pours into me and he makes sure that the message is genuine Sam, that we're not, going after some image or some gimmick. I really do believe in my heart that authenticity, it's like my number one thing. Like, I don't want you to be like, hey, is that guy trying to be somebody else? No, man, I'm just Sam. I'm the youth group guy. They call me the youth group rapper. And that's what I do. I go to youth groups and turn up, And so this year you'll see me bouncing around with Marty a bit, but I'm really focused on my album this year and doing a Sam project, if that's a thing.
That's great. That's great. So Sam, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and then Rain, I'll come right back to you with that.
Yeah, so my handle on Instagram is @SamYanisMusic. You can find all of my stuff online at thirdbeat.org. That's 3rdbeat.org. Okay.
And what about you, Rain? How can they find SRainZ?
So my Instagram is @SRainZ, SRAYNEZ. And on Apple Music, I'm trying to figure out how to work it because I think you have to put the spaces between the S, the Rain, and the Z. So that's something, I'm going to try working on, or maybe just switch it to Rain. But right now it's S space Rain Z, and then social media is SRainZ altogether.
I love that. I love that. Well, to the both of you guys, thank you so much for sitting down for the Independent Artist Spotlight. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys have dropped so much knowledge and wisdom, and I know people are going to get so much out of this, and I really hope that the song will continue to resonate with hearts and minds the way you saw it, the way the Holy Spirit dropped it into your spirits to do the song. I hope that they get the same thing. I hope that it touches lives and it ministers to anyone who hears it. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys. This is 2025 is going to be great. Sounds like it's going to be amazing for you both. And I can't wait to see your journeys unfold.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you so much for having us, man. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you to
pleasure.
Trackstar. It matters so much to me what you guys are doing, reaching out to people with positive music that promotes faith and love. We can't.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And if you all are ever in Atlanta, please let me know. I would love to have you guys come and guest host on the show. It gets
Sam,
crazy.
we gotta
it gets
go to
wild.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
time? No.
What time?
Yeah. It gets crazy. It gets wild, but we plan our show every week and we have some amazing topics that we discuss. And I know you guys will bring some great insight to the conversation. So whenever you're in Atlanta, please let us know.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
So great to talk to you guys again. Thank you and God bless. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Ryan.
God bless.
Take care,
Okay.
man.
Thanks, you guys. Have a
Bye,
good night.
Sam.
Bye.
Yeah, the spotlight, okay. Making sure you shine bright, okay. Rhyme righteous, that's right, okay. Track stars too hype, okay. In the yard, the spotlight, okay. Making sure you shine bright, okay. Rhyme righteous, that's right, okay. Track stars too hype, okay.